What is up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. Guys, had a special request, so I definitely had to check this one out from the channel Fun Swedish. 6 interesting facts about Sweden. They said number 3 is controversial, so definitely can't wait to hear and see what number 3 is going to be. But we finna jump into this. Y'all make sure y'all hit that subscribe button, send down those recommendations. Hey, let's check it out.
Hi and welcome to Fun Swedish. Today we will learn more about Sweden and Swedish by looking at Sweden in numbers. Some interesting statistics that will give you a better understanding of Sweden. We will go through 6 different categories. Number 3 is the most controversial one. Just so you know, most of these statistics that we'll talk about today come from SCB, Statistiska centralbyrån, which is the Swedish agency in charge of the official Swedish statistics. And it's a great page to explore if you want to know more about Sweden. Publicly available thanks to offentlighetsprincipen. So, let's get started.
Okay, let's run.
Number 1. Invånare. Inhabitants. Invånare is the Swedish word for inhabitants. And Sweden has a bit more than 10 miljoner invånare, which is not a lot, at least if you think how big Sweden is, at least in Europe.
Okay, so the inhabitants, just how many people are in Sweden currently. I remember just seeing fact videos that always said it was like 10 million. Now it's well over 10 million. So, hey, it's growing and growing. I'm pretty sure what the next 3 to 5 years, it might be 12, 15 million. You just never know.
Not a lot, at least if you think how big Sweden is, at least in Europe. Sweden is one of the biggest countries in Europe. A bit debatable, but Sweden would be in the 5th place. First Russia, then Ukraine, followed by France and Spain. And then comes Sweden. So, a big country in Europe with a small population, meaning that the overall population density is 25 invånare per kvadratkilometer. But in the capital, Stockholm, it goes up to 4,200 invånare per kvadratkilometer. A big difference depending where you are in Sweden. But in general, we have a lot of space here. Another interesting fact about these 10 miljoner invånare is that out of those 10 million, 2 million are what we call utlandsfödda, which means that they were born outside of Sweden. So out of 10 million, 2 million were not born in Sweden. Let's look at these statistics from Duolingo, a language learning app. This shows that the most popular language studied on Duolingo in Sweden is actually Swedish, having the most popular language being the official language.
Hey, and I did see on the Duolingo, I didn't see the chart and stuff because I was using Duolingo and stuff, but it is, I think Sweden was like one of the top 10 languages on that app, like at 1 million some people are trying to learn Swedish, so that's a good thing, that's a real good thing.
Language of the country is something that only happens here in Sweden. Nummer 2. Medellivslängden. Medellivslängden. Middle life length. This is how we say in Swedish, the average life expectancy. Medellivslängden in Sweden is almost 81 years old. For women, it's a bit higher with 84.3 years old, and for men, 80.6. Okay. So life expectancy is quite high in Sweden.
Which is quite longer than the US. I think the US is like between 60 and 70 or something like that, which is, that's not old at all, but 80 something, that's like, at least you expect to live that long. But I feel like the US is going to keep decreasing because of how the health system is working. Well, that's another, y'all already know we talk about that. That's how the healthcare system is work. How they doing that. I feel like the life expectancy is going to keep dropping in the US.
Sweden. So if you're moving here from some countries, then you're gaining life years. Unless you come from Japan or Spain, then it's better that you stay there, if you want a longer life. But still, life expectancy is considered to be very high in Sweden, even though we eat so much butter. And now that you know that you will have a longer life being in contact with Sweden, I think that deserves the thumbs up. It will take you less time than the years of life that you will gain thanks to Sweden. Number 3.
Oh my God.
Självmord. Self-murder. This is a Swedish word for suicide. The darkest and most controversial statistic on this list. This topic can perhaps be a bit sensitive for some of you, so we won't get mad if you want to stop watching. However, the reason why we're going to talk about it is because so many people ask us, is it true that Sweden has one of the highest suicide rates in the world? Apparently many countries associate Sweden with high suicide rates. But let's look at the data. Some statistics about self-murder. In Sweden we have around 12.4 cases of suicide per 100,000 invånare. 100,000 inhabitants, and 70% of them are men. If you look at the suicide ranking of countries, Sweden is never on the top, at least not nowadays. Depending a bit on the list we look at, Sweden will rank around 47 out of 100.
And I feel like it's high like that too, especially for men. I feel like it's being high for men here lately. I feel like everywhere, you know, because I feel like as men, we don't kind of talk about our mental health. We don't kind of express ourselves. And I feel like that's what's hurting us. And we put a lot of pressure on ourselves along with the people putting pressure on us. And it's weighing us down, mentally draining us. And like it hurts. It hurts to see that even in Sweden, 70% of men that are, you know, committing suicide type thing. So, but this is a controversial topic. Definitely because like it's real life, it's real deal, it happens, you know.
We look at Sweden will rank around 47 out of 183 countries, or according to this source from OECD from 2019, Sweden ranked 11 out of 31 countries, having countries like Finland, Japan, South Korea, and even the United States ranking higher than Sweden. So why is Sweden so famous then for having high suicide rates? Apparently Sweden used to be higher on this list in the 60s, one of the highest in the world actually. Some say that it was because we actually had more suicide cases than most countries, and others say that we actually didn't. What we know is
I feel like it's because the population, the inhabitants. So it kind of look like if you like say for instance, if it's 100 people out of the 10 million, then that seems like a lot versus if another country has, you know, 30 million and it's 100 people, it's like, well, Sweden, that's a lot because of the 10 million type, you know, just because of the population. That's what I would think, why it seemed like a lot, but it really isn't.
That in the 60s, the measuring were all over the place. Every country counted in a different way. Some countries didn't even count suicide as a cause of death because perhaps it was too taboo. But as measuring became more standard, Sweden actually fell down on the rankings. And some say, especially from a Swedish point of view, that this rumor about high suicide rate was actually a political conspiracy. During the cold years, some right-wing politician said that Sweden was also a socialist country because we had a welfare system here and they needed to damage the Swedish reputation in some way. So they used these negative statistics as a strategy to badmouth Sweden, since the country was doing pretty well.
All it takes is one person to spread a rumor and that thing get out everywhere.
Sure if this political conspiracy is true, but it's at least something that is said here in Sweden to defend Sweden against this suicide rumor. And then we have the rumor about the cold and the darkness, that Swedes get very depressed due to the cold climate and this causes the high suicide rates. But let's look at that argument. It's true that the darkness and the cold here is very hard and it does affect your mood. But if we look at the data, most suicide cases in Sweden are not connected to the weather. They are more connected to important holidays.
There's people that, you know, do these type of things. There's people that be in bad moods when it's a beautiful day outside. It just depends on that person's life situation type. I'll never say the weather Like sometimes, I mean, I ain't gonna lie. When it rains and stuff, I probably sleep a little better than other days. But that's probably because like the rain sound. You see the videos with the rain sound, people will help you sleep type stuff. But I feel like the weather could put you in a good mood, bad mood. But I don't think it'll put you in a mood to where you're like, that this is it.
Such as New Year, Midsummer, and Easter are actually the peak times. And these important holidays occurs the whole year around. So it seems to be more connected to the feeling of being alone. In times where most people seems to be enjoying the big holidays with friends and family.
That makes sense too.
So again, it has more to do with this than with the weather. Luckily nowadays, more people talk openly about psykisk ohälsa in Sweden, and more resources are put into preventing it, which luckily is showing a decrease in cases. Let's change to something lighter and fun. Number 4. Lön is a Swedish word for salary or wage. And don't mix this up with lån. That means loan. So here the pronunciation is very important. If you want to say salary, then you need to say lön. According to Statistiska centralbyrån, medianlönen, the median salary in Sweden 2020 was 32 400 kronor per månad. For women less, 31 200 kronor per månad. And for men higher, with 33 700 kronor per månad. Everything per month, of course, and before taxes. Sweden is famous abroad for being expensive and for having high taxes. But the taxes part deserves a whole other video, so we're not going to talk about it today.
I can't wait
Is the Swedish median salary a high salary according to you? Let us know in the comment section below. I guess it depends a bit.
Hey, y'all let me know too. What do y'all think? Because, I was at a job I made about 38 to 40,000 a year, before taxes, of course. So, of course, when the taxes took out a big chunk of that.
Where you come from and in which area you work in. Another interesting thing about Swedish salaries is that there's actually no minimum wage in Sweden. But at the same time, the Gini index for income, that measures income inequality, is only at 28.8, amongst the lowest in the world, making it one of the most equal countries in the world when it comes to salaries. Another classic statistics is what we call bruttonationalprodukt, or BNP, which is Swedish for GDP. Looking at the per capita number, Sweden has a GDP number of $52,896 which is in the top 15 in pretty much all rankings. And maybe top 10 if we don't count tax paradises. And talking about money, number 5, miljardärer. Billionaires. Miljard is a Swedish word for billion, 1,000 million. There's another word, billion, but that really means trillion in English. It's very confusing, I know. Like we mentioned before, Sweden is famous for having a low income inequality. A little unknown fact is that Sweden actually has a lot of billionaires per capita, one of the highest in Europe. Sweden's Gini for wealth paints the opposite picture. When it comes to wealth inequality, it is actually 86.7, among the top in the world, making it one of the most unequal countries when it comes to accumulating wealth. Mostly thanks to some giant companies such as H&M, Tetra Pak, IKEA, and Spotify.
Why you call it H&M? Is that how you really pronounce it instead of H&M?
Companies such as H&M, Tetra Pak, IKEA, and Spotify, amongst other, which have made the founders very, very rich. So it's due to them that we have so many billionaires in Sweden. Number 6. Efternamn, after-name. This is a Swedish word for surname or last name. The most popular efternamn in Sweden 2020 was Andersson, a name that really means the son of Anders. Remember, in Swedish we pronounce Anders as Anders. In fact, the top 16 most popular surnames in Swedish all end
in English. It kind of looked like Anderson. With
the word son, which is the ending of son of. We have son of Johan, Johansson, son of Carl, Karlsson, son of Nils, Nilsson, and so on. In the old days, instead of passing on your family name, you would just be the son of whatever your father's name was. We don't do that anymore, but you can still find this tradition in countries like Iceland, where also the girl instead of son gets dottir. The most popular non-son name in Sweden is Lindberg, which is also very interesting. It means mountain of tilia, because berg means mountain and lind means tilia, a kind of tree that is also known as small-leaved lime. Lindberg, together with other popular names such as Lundberg eller Lindström, are the second most common group of surnames. Surnames that are all nature-based. If you have some Swedish friends or colleagues, then you can have fun trying to translate their names. Which of all these facts about Sweden in numbers did you find the most interesting one? Let us know in the comment section below. And let's put a like before you go, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done it yet.
Nice. I like this channel. I like Fun Sweden. It definitely gives some good facts. Definitely gives some good knowledge and help your boy learn some Swedish. So definitely love this channel. I think that was 6 interesting facts. I think that gave me a little bit more and some other things that I didn't know on like the other channel. I feel like she kind of elaborated a little bit more on some of the topics, which is good because like with the minimum wage, of course, like the suicide rates and stuff like that, those different things, like I feel like she went into more detail. She got the proof, you know, showing us real documentation, real proof, statistics, and all those things. So definitely appreciate this channel for just keeping me up to date. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing like learning and getting some more knowledge. But guys, that's all I have in this video. Y'all let me know what you think in the comments below about these 6 interesting facts. That's all I have. Y'all hit that subscribe button. Most importantly, y'all be blessed, be the best, and be you. I'm out.